Hi. A couple of years ago, a new gallery devoted to Greek and Roman statuary opened at the Metropolitan Museum, a beautiful room of perfectly diffuse light, and a couple of visits to that resulted in this poem called Greek and Roman Statuary. The tip of the nose seemed to be the first to be lost, then the arms and legs, and later the stone penis, if such a thing were featured. And often an entire head followed the nose, as it might have done when bread was baking in the side streets of ancient Rome. No hope for the flute once attached to the lips of that satyr with the puffed out cheeks, nor for the staff the shepherd boy once leaned on. No sword no longer gripped by the warrior, the poor lost ears of the sleeping boy, and whatever it was Aphrodite once held in her severed hand. But the torso is another story. Middleman, the last to go, bluntly surviving, propped up on a pedestal with a length of pipe. And the mighty stone ass endures. So smooth and fundamental, no one hesitates to leave the group and walk behind to stare. And that is the way it goes here in the diffused light from the translucent roof, one missing extremity after another, digits that got too close to the slicer of time, hands snapped off by the clock, whole limbs caught in the mortal thresher. But outside on the city streets it is raining, and the pavement shines with the crisscross traffic of living bodies, hundreds of noses still intact, arms swinging and hands grasping, the skin still warm and foreheads glistening. It's anyone's guess when the day will come when there is nothing left of us but the bare, solid plinth we once stood upon, now exposed to the open air, just the wind in the trees and the shadows of clouds sweeping over its hard marble surface. A poem that came out of a sentence by Juan Ramon Jimenez, a sentence in one of his works that just stopped me in my tracks, and it became the epigraph to this poem. And the sentence is, "The worst thing about death must be the first night." It just gave me a whole deepening sense of, made me re-examine my whole conception of what that might be. I decided to talk to Jimenez about this, and the poem is called The First Night. Before I opened you, Jimenez, it never occurred to me that night and day would continue to circle one another in the ring of death. But now you have me wondering if there will be a sun and a moon, and will the dead gather to watch them rise and set, then repair, each soul alone, to some ghastly equivalent of a bed? Or will the first night be the only night, a darkness for which we have no other name? How feeble our vocabulary in the face of death, how impossible to write it down. This is where language will stop, the horse we have ridden all our lives, rearing up at the edge of a dizzying cliff. And the word that was in the beginning, and the word that was made flesh, these and all the other words will cease. Even now, reading you on this trellised porch, how can I describe a sun that will shine after death? But it is enough to frighten me into paying more attention to the world's day moon, to sunlight bright on water or fragmented in a grove of trees, and to look more closely here at these small leaves, these sentinel thorns, whose employment it is to guard the rose. Thank you. And thank you. And one last poem is just a poem that plays with slang, and it's called High. as in getting high. Hi. On that clear October morning, I was only behind a double espresso and a single hit of antidepressant. Yet there, on the shore of the reservoir with its flipped-over rowboats, I felt like I was walking with Jane Austen, to borrow the jargon of the streets. Yes, I was wearing the crown, as the drug addicts like to say, knitting a bonnet for Charlie, entertaining the troops, sitting in the study with H.G. Wells. So many ways to express that mood of royal goodwill when the gift of sight is cause enough for jubilation. And later in the afternoon, when I finally came down, a lexicon was waiting for me there too. In my upholstered chair by a window, with dusk pouring into the room, I appeared to be doing nothing, but inside I was busy riding the marble, as the lurkers like to put it, talking to Marco Polo, juggling turtles, going through the spin cycle, or my favorite, if I had to have one, out of milk. Thank you.